Moreover, or even more interesting, from the same group, Jose Antonio and colleagues, a high protein diet, 3.4 grams per kilogram a day, combined with a heavy resistance training program, improves body composition in healthy trained men and women. A follow-up investigation. So now we're broadening our group. We don't just have young males, which are the best subjects for any type of study. More on that later. But now we include women. And they actually did this study for 16 weeks. With 3.4 grams per kilogram a day. And the interesting thing about this study is that they actually controlled for their training. So they actually controlled their training stimulus. They actually were the ones implementing the training of the people inside the study. The program was designed to increase strength and lean body mass. Training frequency was 5 days per week for 8 weeks treatment period. So that's not 16. I'm sorry. That was a 8-week study. The program was a split routine in which different body parts were trained on consecutive days as seen in table 1 and 2. Because each subject was already resistance trained, they were familiar with the exercise provided in the program. The investigators and research assistants were in contact with each subject on a weekly basis to ensure compliance with the exercise training program. Compliance was determined via measurements of volume, load, repetitions, time set, time weight, which should be increased over a course of a treatment period. Furthermore, subjects were instructed to not perform any aerobic exercise during the treatment. Why the fuck would they do any aerobic exercise? So that they look like a fucking soy boy? If you want to be big, if you want to really increase your muscle mass and be big, you should not on any circumstance do aerobic exercise. There's only 2 reasons why a man should run. To catch someone or to run away from someone who's bigger than him. That's it. And if you want to be big, you should not be doing any aerobic exercise. And if you do heavy squats like a man, you don't need to do any aerobics exercise. Free weight squats or free barbell squats actually improve your VO2 max. If you're doing heavy resistance training with free weights, you will never need aerobics exercise. I never prescribe it and I never use it. And if you want to, and check out the free workouts that I use for myself, even in the Savage workout, which is designed for fat burning, I don't do any cardio, nor would I ever recommend any cardio or aerobic exercise. Leave that to the soy boys. Now, results, body composition. Now, it is the same methodology as before. So the high protein group is eating 3.4 grams per kilogram a day of protein, and the normal protein group is eating 2.3 grams. So the normal protein intake group is eating the usually recommended amount of protein to increase muscle mass, which is around 2.2 grams per kilogram a day. And the high protein is eating 3.4, which amounts to 400 kilocalories more per day. So bear that in mind. The high protein group is eating 400 calories more, or kilocals. If I say cals, you know it's kilocals. It's never cals. It's never calories, it's kilocalories. But if I ever omit that, you already know that I'm talking about kilocalories. So the high protein group is eating 400 kilocalories more than the normal protein group. And that equals to the normal protein group is eating 2,100 grams, kilocalories, 2,100 kilocalories a day. And the high protein is eating 2,614. So it's actually more than 400 kilocalories, but which is even better because based on their findings, you will be astounded. So body composition. What were the results? The normal protein and high protein group experienced a significant change pre versus post for fat-free mass, fat mass, and percentage of body fat. The normal protein group also experienced a significant increase in body weight. However, between group differences were found for between group differences were found for fat mass and percentage of body fat. The high protein group lost an average of 1.6 kilograms of fat mass versus the 0.3 kilograms in the normal protein group. Moreover, the percentage body fat decrease was minus 2.4% percentage-wise and minus 0.6% in the high and normal protein group respectively. So, as we can see from the get-go, the high protein group actually ate more kilocalories, for almost 500 kilocalories more per day during 8 weeks, and they lost 1.6 kilograms of fat, and the normal protein group only lost 0.3 kilograms. So that's a delta of 1.3 kilograms that they lost more eating more. So they actually ate more and lost more body fat. That's the power of protein, my brothers. Protein is the holy grail of hypertrophy. If you want to be big, get big, stay lean, even get leaner, you should be eating protein like there's no tomorrow. I mean, by God. How can you explain numbers like this when you're eating 400 kilocalories or 500 kilocalories of energy more per day and you actually lose more body fat? And that actually... anyway, let me just finish with this paper and then I'll make my conclusions. The high protein group consumed significantly more calories and more protein over the treatment period. However, there were between group differences for dietary energy and protein intake during the treatment period. There were no significant changes in carbohydrates or fat intake in either group, nor was there a change in caloric intake in the normal protein group. So they actually maintained the carbohydrates and fat levels evenly through or in between the groups, which is good. Then you only have one variable, which is protein. That's what we want. A well-controlled study. Very well done indeed. Now they go on to say there's no harmful effects. We already covered that. The investigation demonstrates the protein intake that let me read this. Our investigation demonstrates that protein intakes that are approximately 60% greater than even the highest recommended intakes, which is 2 grams per kilogram body weight a day, produces favorable alterations in body composition when combined with a periodized heavy resistance training regime. Metabolic panel was all normal. The blood lipid panels were all normal. Now to conclude, I actually have the conclusion. I marked it. This study also okay. Now, what's the reasoning for this leaning out effect of protein? So now you might be thinking, and this is what I wanted to conclude with. You might be thinking that, oh, what the hell, isn't a calorie a calorie? That's what I've been told. A calorie is a calorie. That's what the bros from If It Fits Your Macros always say. A calorie is a calorie. Or the calories in, calories out, to be even more precise, the calories in versus calories out bros always tell you that a calorie is a calorie. Now, what they don't know, or perhaps they do know but fail to disclose, but I believe it's just really plain ignorant. Maybe they didn't attend any type of physics class, they didn't study thermodynamics. But what they don't know is that the human body is a thermodynamic machine. And when they say that calories in minus calories out equals to total energy remaining inside the system, what they don't know, or what they don't realize, is that the human body as a thermodynamics machine or thermodynamical machine works on efficiency. The holy grail of the universe is efficiency. With everything. In your job, the more efficient you are, the betterest or the better you are at your job. The more efficient I am with this podcast, the better I am. I'm still working on my efficiency with regards to speaking in English for long periods of time. So the more efficient I can get, the better I am. The human body works exactly the same way. The more efficient it is at metabolizing different types of organic matter, like a carbohydrate or a protein or a fatty acid, the more efficient it is at breaking down that with as little amount of energy as it needs to, because your body needs to exert energy to break down nutrients. And then if it is efficient at that process, what happens, for example, in the glucose pathway, you actually need to give ATP to phosphorylate the glucose. It goes from glucose to glucose 6-phosphate and B-phosphate and so on. But then when it splits into a 3-carbon molecule, it gives out 2 3-carbon molecules, it doubles the amount of ATP that it then produces. So you get a net positive balance of ATP. Although the body needs to provide ATP in the initial reaction, it then gets paid by doubling the ATP that the glucose gives out when you subtract by the one that the level of ATP that the body actually needs to give to the glucose to get it going. What happens is that protein is actually a very inefficient source of energy. The human body actually expends more energy metabolizing all the protein and peptides and amino acids than it gives to the system. So the payout is almost always negative. And what happens is the more protein you eat, the more energy your body needs to give or the more energy that the system needs to give to the molecule to break it down so that it can be used. And they actually touch on this subject in this paper. They go on to say, certainly one should not discount the role of protein's thermic effect. So the thermic effect is the elevation of your body's temperature when you eat something. The thermic effect is how much your body temperature actually elevates percentually when you eat any type of nutrient, i.e. the thermic effect of feeding. Protein has a thermic effect of approximately 19 to 23% in both obese and lean individuals, where carbohydrate is approximately 12 to 14%. In fact, a high protein meal, which is 45%, would be around 45% of total calories, elicits a 30% greater thermic effect than an isocaloric low protein meal, 15% of total calorie in active females. So the more protein you eat, or the greater the percentage of the meal that you're eating, of which it represents protein. Actually, let me say that better. The greater the percentage of protein per meal, the more energy that your thermodynamic machine, your system needs to break down that protein and actually use it, which can get up to 30% greater thermic effect than a exact same meal of the same amount of calories, just with different ratios of macronutrients. So that notion that a calorie is a calorie can just lay to rest. A calorie is not a calorie. Actually, that's kind of disingenuous, because a calorie is a measurement of energy. So to say that a calorie is actually an oxymoron. Of course, a calorie is a calorie. It's just a measurement of energy. But what they try to say when they actually say that a calorie is that all calories are the same, which is not true. Calories are a measurement of energy, but how your body uses the energy inside the molecules differs in between all of the nutrients that you eat. So a calorie is not equal to a calorie inside of your thermodynamics machine.